What is up, you guys? I'm Charmx. Today I'm going to be reacting to Film Theory Scooby Doo is an Alien by the Film Theorist. What are you talking about, Matt? What do you mean Scooby Doo is an alien? You better have some crazy evidence to back up this wild claim. This is going to ruin Scooby Doo for me if Matt is correct. But yeah, anyway, hopefully this is going to be... hopefully Matt's going to be wrong. and yeah, with that being said, the original link's in the description. Make sure you guys go subscribe to the Film Theorist if you haven't already. Without any further ado, let's begin.
And now, gang, we'll find out who was really behind the hauntings at YouTube headquarters.
Markiplier?
Wait, gang, I think this is another mask.
Lele Pons?
Yeah.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah, no, big no there. Let me rip this off.
PewDiePie?
Hold on.
Mr. Beast?
Jinkies, how many of these things are there?
Surprised they can breathe under all that.
Alright, I think this is the last one. The real person behind the hauntings at YouTube HQ was...
YouTube sensation Will Smith?
No, he's the greatest YouTuber of all time. It couldn't be him.
Liked, commented, and imprisoned. Wait, where?
In prison. What? I think actually Will Smith kind of stopped making YouTube videos, didn't he? I don't think I've seen a YouTube video from him in a while.
Where's that laughter coming from? Scooby Doo. Hello, Internet. Well,
That was a weird intro.
Film Theory, the show inspired by Velma's incredible ability to rationalize any supernatural event.
The simple fact is, monsters are nothing more than crooks in masks, usually unscrupulous real estate developers.
So, just over a year ago, I did my first episode on Scooby Doo, in which I tried to calculate Shaggy's power level and whether Ultra Instinct Shaggy was actually some sort of Super Saiyan. Remember that meme that lasted like, a week? Good
Yeah, I remember that. That was like a month. That was not a week.
times. Anyway, in my research for that episode, I watched an entire generation's worth of new Scooby Doo episodes. Not just the original Scooby Doo.
The originals were the best. I don't think I've seen many of the new ones.
Where are you? Not just what's new Scooby Doo, or heck, not even just the new Scooby Doo movies, but all of the Scooby Doo generations. Let me reiterate that, all the generations. And that, my friends, is no small feat. Scooby Doo is a 14 series, 36 movie canon.
Matt was busy. That's crazy. I love the older Scooby Doo stuff. I think they're still making them, but I don't know. It's like it's all computer generated, and it's not like the hand drawn the way I grew up with. So I'm not particularly the biggest fan of the computer generated ones.
Spreading 51 years.
Wow.
Ruh-roh, MatPat's starting to lose his mind. And boy, was that crash course through half a century's worth of cartoon canon a wake-up call for me. For years, I just assumed that Shaggy, Scooby, and the gang were living out the same Sisyphean nightmare all that time, driving from town to town in a barely
That's what I assumed it was. What is it then? Because I haven't seen all of them.
functional van forced to solve spooky mysteries that always amounts to some guy in a really convincing rubber mask with way too much special effects technology on his hands. And what does the gang get for all their hard work?
Yeah, they get nothing. How do they make money?
Nothing. Maybe a sandwich if they're lucky. Well, except for that one time that Scooby got himself a chest full of Confederate money. Fred and Daphne are in a will they won't they relationship. Shaggy's romantic interests fluctuate between Velma and Scooby his dog. Insert wacky guest star here.
Sorry, Batman, they run off sometimes.
Flight is a natural response to the unknown.
Can we help you kids out?
I love the Batman episode. I've seen it many times.
And I wasn't entirely wrong.
The editor was fired.
Through this franchise, I was shocked to learn that across those 51 years, those 14 series, and those 36 spin-off movies, that there's actually a complex Scooby-Doo lore here. No joke.
Really? You better back this up.
Long before the MCU, there was the SDU. Might be easy to assume that each iteration of Scooby-Doo is completely separate from all the ones that came before it.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen any of these weird, like this kind of animated ones. I don't think I have, at least. And I think I have seen some of these ones, which are they're still computer done, but they're not like hand drawn. But I think these ones I don't really like that much because they're not like the old ones, like the old style.
Because, you know, it's just a cartoon, right? Who's putting in that much effort? But in reality, the teams behind these shows appear to be taking a lot of care with the long history of this series. So much so that the entire franchise, movies and all, can basically be boiled down into 2 self-consistent timelines. Well, 2.5 if we're being completely accurate. At least, that's my theory today anyway. So with a new film entry coming out later this week looking to set up a prequel story that I guarantee will burn this theory to the ground.
Wait, there's, oh yeah, the new Scooby Doo movie's coming out. Wait a minute, how's it coming out with the whole current situation? No theaters are open. Is it just going straight to like Netflix or something?
I guess our new movie is an origin story.
Let me at least get the video out now before it completely throws off all my research. So before we start throwing things into timelines, let me lay out the major pieces. First and most importantly, let's get the big one out of the way. Scooby Doo is an alien, period, end of sentence. That is 100% canonical fact. That isn't me even overreaching in the slightest. In the recent series Scooby Doo Mystery Incorporated, which is
Yeah, I can't, look at this. Look at the way it's drawn, what the frig?
shockingly lore-heavy for a Scooby show, we learn about the Anunnaki, an ancient godlike alien race that comes to Earth every few thousand years. The Anunnaki have no physical forms, so they're forced to possess animal bodies.
The Anunnaki have a great history of
I've heard of them before. I think they've been used in other shows or something.
helping humans, but we have no physical form and must inhabit animals. This is why some animals, our descendants, can talk and others cannot.
So if we happen to know any animals in this series that are capable of talking or being understood by humans, well, we can reasonably assume that that individual is an alien descendant.
Oh no, oh no.
That's why Scooby Doo can talk. He's got himself dem alien genes.
The heart is us. It's always been us.
It also explains one of his iconic catchphrases.
Wrong? Blair.
So that's big reveal number 1 about this series' lore, and we are just getting started. The Mystery Incorporated series also introduces
I think Matt, I don't know, I hope that's not right.
us to the canonized concept of a Scooby multiverse. In the final episode of this particularly interesting run, Scooby and his friends help defeat an evil Anunnaki who's been trapped on Earth. To try and escape, this force has been assembling and manipulating mystery teams throughout the ages to try and get released, with the Scooby Gang being his most recent group of kids. Once this evil entity gets destroyed, however, Scooby's entire world gets destroyed along with it, launching the main mystery gang into a brand new existence.
What? Oh, that's wild.
Their same hometown of Crystal Cove, but with everything slightly different. Shaggy is no longer a slacker, but rather a top chef. Velma is a champion academic. But perhaps most shocking of all, Fred and Daphne are engaged.
I know
I mean, that's shocking, are you kidding me?
why everything's different. We destroyed the entity, and by destroying it, it was as if it never existed. By destroying the evil entity, we created an entirely different timeline.
Our actions created a better world where we all have normal and productive lives.
Normal nowadays is unproductive.
So that, off the bat, gets us into 2 separate timelines. Same Scooby Gang, carried out across 2 branches of the multiverse. The next big issue that we need to talk about are the monsters themselves. The vast majority of the shows recycled the same twist. There were no ghosts. Man was the real monster all along.
And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't.
What, you meddling kids?
Was the formula.
Yeah, I love the old ones. That was kind of like the, I don't know, just like the thing that would, you knew it was coming when you'd watch them.
For decades. For the TV show, at least. And yet, for some
Yeah, see, I like the TV show. I've seen a few of the movies, and I haven't really seen much of the newer stuff.
strange reason, most of the movies, like 1987 Scooby-Doo Meets the Boo Brothers, and most of the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo movies, like Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, all have the gang encountering real-life supernatural creatures. A very select few of the series had this as well, like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, the Scooby and Scrappy Show, and Mystery Incorporated, where again, the ghosts and boogeymen are actually real supernatural creatures. When I first encountered these outliers, I was just happy to write them off as taking place in a totally different universe. In one universe, ghosts are fake. The mystery gang always...
Well, why couldn't it be in the same universe? Can't some be fake, some be just hoaxes, and some be real?
pulls off a mask and everyone's happy. In the other, ghosts are a real
Robbie,
threat.
rotten!
We should all be terrified by the retribution that the undead shall deliver unto us. Here's where things get weird though. In many of the ghosts are real iterations, Shaggy wears a red shirt. Red.
What? Oh, that's weird. I never knew that.
Different shirt, different universe, obviously. Okay, now that might seem like an exaggeration, and normally it would
Why would it be red? That's never what he wears.
be, but there's actually more to Shaggy's wardrobe changes than meets the eye. You see, in the 2001 direct-to-DVD movie Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase, the Scooby Gang goes into a Scooby-based video game world complete with digital doppelgangers. And what does Shaggy's digital form look like? Red shirt. Big deal, right? It's just a physical color swap to differentiate him from the real Shaggy. Except that's not the case. Look closer and you start to see that the shirt isn't the only thing different about
The skin color's off.
Shaggy's digital form. His eyes are also different. And not just different, they're the exact match for how they were drawn during those 80s era Scrappy-centric Scooby-Doo episodes. So, could all of the ghosts and ghoulies from Scooby-Doo and the 13 Ghosts and Scooby and the Scrappy Show episodes have taken place in a digital simulation? To know for sure, we have to start...
Okay, let's say if you're right, because it does sound like it was. So what? How does that prove that Scooby-Doo is an alien? That has nothing to do with this. Is this just like just some wild side tangent?
Put this whole thing together. The first thing that happens chronologically is the birth of Scooby-Doo in 1969. This is according to
Nice.
a fake document that Velma uses to
Nice.
create Scooby as a service dog in the movie Legend of the Phantasaur, which, funny enough, was the same movie where Ultra Instinct Shaggy got his origins. So, across the board, probably the single most important piece of Scooby-Doo related media to ever come out in half a century. I can't tell if I'm exaggerating that or not. The rest of the gang was probably born around the same time.
Quadruple nice.
Because of Scooby's Anunnaki heritage, he actually ages at a speed closer to that of a normal human. So roughly 10 years after being born, he's still very much a puppy for the events of the first series chronologically, and the 9th overall series in the franchise to be launched, a pup named Scooby-Doo, along with the movie
What? I've never seen that.
that was set in the same time period, The Mystery Map. In the
What? Look at them. Oh my goodness.
first episode of the series, we see the gang already together
How old? Is this the first stuff that's ever been made for Scooby-Doo?
and solving mysteries in their hometown of Coolsville, USA, under the name the Scooby-Doo Detective Agency. This series directly leads into the original series, Scooby-Doo Where Are You? And its many follow-ups, the new Scooby-Doo movies where they hang out with celebrities, before eventually winding up with the Scooby-Doo Show. And with that, we come to the darkest period.
I was not aware of that. That's cool. It's like a Scooby-Doo history lesson.
Scrappy-Doo, Scooby's nephew, who was deemed by censors as, quote, too independent, which apparently is a bad thing to teach kids. Well,
Yeah, that's crazy. I love Scrappy-Doo.
at the time, he was popular enough to help prevent the Scooby franchise from being canceled. Since then, he's become the single most hated television sidekick
What? People hate him?
of all time. Even
I like Scrappy-Doo. I guess I'm one of the odd ones out.
the creators of Scooby-Doo themselves will only allow references to him insofar as they make fun of how bad he was. Unlike the previous
Why is it that people hate him so much? I liked him because he was like, oh, I'll go get him, you know? I love that.
incarnations of the series, this new iteration focuses on dealing with real monsters and real supernatural threats, rather than your typical villain hiding under a mask. But how, in a series that's only focused on real-life crooks, did supernatural forces suddenly appear out of nowhere in this world? Clearly, there had to have been something to prompt this change in the world from the classic Scooby's technological terror into the modern Scooby's paranormal fears. The answer actually lies in a crossover episode, one that would happen 3 decades after Scrappy was first introduced. A crossover
Wait, 2018? 2 years ago this happened?
of supernatural proportions, because it's crossing over with the show Supernatural.
Really? What? Supernatural? I didn't know that. Oh my goodness.
Now, if you're unfamiliar with Supernatural, it's about, you guessed it, the supernatural. And
I actually like that show. Well, I used to like it. I haven't seen it in years.
2 paranormal hunters. In the season 13 episode Scooby Natural, something incredible happens for both the Supernatural and Scooby-Doo universes when the two collide. Brothers Sam and Dean from Supernatural get sucked into the world of Scooby-Doo along with their angel friend Cass. But here's where things...
What? What? What kind of plot is that? Have they ruined Scooby-Doo? I haven't seen it in so many years now that, like, it seems like they've kind of ruined it. I don't know.
get really crazy. You see, they're not just sucked into the world of Scooby Doo, they're sucked into a real episode of the show. Specifically, the 16th episode ever, titled A Night of Fright is No Delight, which, when it first aired, just ended with the typical bad guy in a mask reveal. However, what we're shown in this crossover is that the supernatural guys accidentally opened the Scooby Doo universe up to real paranormal powers. Them entering the TV show has allowed a ghost in, resulting in the two hunters chasing an actual ghost through an episode where there wasn't a ghost to begin with. Meanwhile, the mystery gang—
What? Oh, this is just getting so complicated. Why do they gotta do this to the show?
stays oblivious to the whole thing. At the end of the episode, the Winchester brothers manage to convince the Scooby Gang that it's all been elaborate tricks and gadgetry. Before that, though, the Mystery Gang does get itself a little wake-up call from Cass.
So, everything you told me, it's true? Werewolves? Vampires? Demons? I thought I was blind without my glasses, but I was just blind.
That means that Scooby's supernatural—
The voice actors sound so freaking different now in the modern stuff. I love the old, because they even Shaggy and Scooby sound off.
This whole video is just Charmx complaining about the new Scooby Doo STLY.
elements may have been brought into its universe by the supernatural team when they chased a ghost into the cartoon. That explains how later series in the timeline, with the Scrappy Doo series and the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo that follows it, we have supernatural beings suddenly present out of nowhere in the canon. What it doesn't explain away, though, is Velma and Fred not knowing who Scrappy is.
Well, I guess the gang's all here.
Except Scrappy.
What's a Scrappy?
Sure, they didn't share that many episodes together, but that first season that Scrappy appeared in did have all the gang together for multiple episodes. It also had really terrible animation.
Wait, so why didn't she know who Scrappy is?
For all those episodes. I mean, look at Shaggy. Looks like he was put through the rack.
I love the way these look.
It had been a gas leak season, or, as we previously established, it had to have been in the video game simulation. For as crazy as it sounds, it actually makes sense. The first season with Scrappy literally sees the gang week over week going to Britain, to Egyptian-inspired locales, to California, New York, even places as far-flung as Greece, which, wouldn't you know it, are exactly the types of exotic levels that we see the gang flat.
Wait, so you tell me this is all done in the computer?
Through as we're trapped in the video game sim from Scooby Doo and the Cyber Chase. So look on the plus side, all you Scrappy haters. A full one of his seasons doesn't even count because it all took place in a computerized simulation. That season, along with at least 3 movies, Scooby Doo meets the Boo Brothers.
You guys are ghost exterminators.
Scooby Doo and the Ghoul School and Scooby Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf totally don't count. At this point, then, we have to rewind our timeline back. Oh,
this is getting confusing. And what does this have to do with Scooby-Doo being an alien? Are you telling me that one little part at the beginning there, mentioning how the anacondas or whatever possess animals, and then they can speak, and that's the proof that Scooby-Doo is an alien? Then what has the rest of this been about?
All the way back to the beginning, the very beginning for our second alternate universe, the Mystery Incorporated universe. You see, televisions in the world of Mystery Incorporated still use a 4:3 standard broadcasting ratio, which started going out of style in the mid-90s, and would have been startlingly obsolete by the time Mystery Inc. actually aired in 2010. That means that this show wasn't meant to take place concurrently with the show's airing, but rather sometime back in the 80s and 90s. Because the gang is back in high school again, it's most likely to take place in the 80s. Except this go around, all the mysteries from the other timeline have already been solved. The first episode of the series starts with Velma giving a tour of the Haunted Museum, and it's a who's who filled with nods to all the classic monsters from Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
Yeah, see, I remember those. Oh my goodness, that's so nostalgia. I'm so confused of what's going on, though. Like, Matt keeps going back and forth on the timeline, but I don't understand what the end goal here is. Is this still going on about how Scooby-Doo is an alien? Or what? I'm freaking confused, man.
Who could forget the terrifying stylings of Space Kook? Not me. They all turned out to be fakes.
That's not all, though. We see the Luna Ghost from the Scooby-Doo live-action film, as well as references to Scrappy Doo and never talking about him again.
We all promised each other that we would never speak of him. Not ever.
So then, why wouldn't this be connected somehow to our main main timeline? Well, because A, they don't believe in real ghosts, when in the main timeline by this point they've seen plenty of those. B, they're born and raised in a new town.
So this whole thing is just saying that it's in an alternate universe?
This one's town is Crystal Cove as opposed to Coolsville, USA. And C, they don't recognize Vincent Van Ghoul, the wizard who served as their guide throughout the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo and its spin-off movie, The Curse of the 13th Ghost. It's a paradox that can only be solved via a separate timeline. At the end of the series, as I talked about earlier, the team is sent to a new timeline where the supernatural entity never existed in the first place.
So wait, so them getting thrown into an alternate universe makes it so they don't recognize Scrappy Doo. They also don't recognize paranormal stuff, as well as, you know, just slight things in their lives have changed. Is that what he's getting at?
When Fred arrives in this new world, upon realizing there's no dark entity or the effects that it left, he declares that it's a
world without mysteries.
Of course, this is wrong, but what it does mean is that this is a world without paranormal activity, which leads directly into the events of Be Cool Scooby Doo.
Okay, yeah, so I was right assuming that.
Which sees our gang in their
Man, this is some insane lore that they would include in Scooby Doo. My goodness.
new timeline. We're told that they just got out of high school.
I've never seen this version of Scooby Doo, and look at it. It just looks awful compared to the older version. Oh my goodness.
Which continues the story of them being in high school in Mystery Incorporated, and true to what Fred said about a world without mystery.
Like, I don't like this version of it being drawn either, because you can tell it's like really computery. But at least they look kind of like they're supposed to look, like the original way.
This new series moves away from solving crimes and more into the territory of Phineas and Ferb, complete with increased emphasis on comedy and wacky inventions. And that's the latest point in the Scooby
Maybe I'm glad that I haven't seen Scooby Doo in so long.
Verse as of now. Given the show's tendency to jump around its own timeline, there's no guarantee the next batch of Scooby episodes and movies will even take place in the future of the timeline. Maybe they'll track back to when the gang was in a more grounded.
See, this is what I want Scooby Doo to remain in my memory as. This right here. Not all these other weird things that they've done.
Seeming reality. But for once, we can roughly see the way this entire timeline links together. One mystery gang we've watched grow up since they were kids, a second mystery gang that have themselves crossed dimensions into a brand new timeline, and a third that's entirely digital. And now with that out.
That is so freaking complex. That is so complex. And is Matt right? I don't know. It sounds like Matt's probably right. But as far as Scooby-Doo being an alien, I guess that Matt's only point was that one part from earlier. So is Scooby-Doo an alien? Maybe. I don't know.
Out of the way, tune in next week when I explain how Fred and Daphne still haven't become an official couple after all these years.
Is that really a video you're gonna do? Well, I don't know. I think Fred's kind of just like a player and doesn't want to get tied down. I think that's what's going on there. Not much of a mystery if you ask me. Anyway, this was so freaking complicated. My goodness. I think Matt's right that they were thrown into an alternate universe and things are definitely taking place in different universes. I found it mind-blowing that there is a whole season or whatever or series that's on like a computer. Right? Like how the Scooby-Doo had like or Shaggy had like the red shirt. I never noticed that. That's crazy. So yeah, I don't really know what the point of this was. Like Matt's point about Scooby-Doo being like normally in these videos, Matt says or has like a title and throughout the entire video he's trying to prove that point. It seems like Matt proved his point of Scooby-Doo being an alien within like the first couple minutes, and then I don't really know what the rest of this had to do with the title. I mean, obviously it was just proving that there were different universes, which to me I never knew, and I think that's crazy. But it's just weird because it's kind of going out of the style, or it's diverging from the style that Matt normally takes with videos and how they're done towards how they're, you know, normally they go through the entire video trying to prove the point, which in this case it was already done really soon into the video, if that makes sense. I don't know. Whatever. I hope you guys like this. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If you're new, subscribe to the family. I'll see you guys next time.